So are you ready for these mind-blowing statistics? Here we go. In a recent Edelman report released March of 2021, based on market research from 12 different countries around the globe, 62% of respondents reported that their country would not have been able to recover from the pandemic without brands helping their communities pull through. And 55% said that brands responded more quickly than the government in terms of getting people the assistance and additional support they needed to care for their families. This is huge. Brands now have a responsibility to care about the people in their communities, not just about whether or not they're ready to make another purchase or if their employees are getting shifts covered because they called in sick, but to actually show and express concern for the well-being and the best interests of the people who are invested in the brand. And the best way for a brand to show concern is to create solutions, ease suffering, and offer the emotional support of a community that will let your people know they are not alone. The name of the game is no longer to outsell the competition, it's to outcare, as it always should have been. What's more is that a whopping 71% agree that if a brand appears to be pulling profits over people in 2021, they will lose trust in that brand forever. They've had it up to here, and they're letting us know. The top 1% of businesses don't want you to know this because it's such a common mistake that new business owners make when building their brand, and it can hold them back from becoming major players in the marketplace, even when the new business has a superior product or service. So, many businesses had rocky starts, or worse, total non-starts, because they made their brand messaging too personal to them and not clear enough for their customers. Many successful brands figured out that clarity outperforms clever only after being in business for a few years and hitting that wall. Airbnb's first tagline was, "Travel like a human," whatever that means. Then they tried, "Feel ordinary with us." Ordinary, really? Today their tagline, "Belong anywhere." It's much more clear and way less trying to be clever. Geico's first tagline was, "You could save money on car insurance even if you've made a few mistakes." Just pretty wordy, rather vague, and vaguely trying to be funny, kinda, sorta. Today, they lead the comedy relief up to the Geico get-go. And their tagline is, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Pretty clear, right? FedEx had to go and make things weird with their first two taglines. "Why fool around with anyone else?" What? And "Our most important package is yours." Okay, I can't even... The jokes are just exploding out of my mind on those. But today their tagline reads, "Connecting people with goods and services and ideas creates opportunity and improves lives." A little long, but I'm glad they figured it out. These top 1% of companies have learned through trial and error that clarity outperforms clever every time, and they're counting on it taking you several tries to get it right as well. But I think you can do better. I know you can. Clarity outperforms clever is one of my key teachings when discussing your brand's first impressions, its name, its tagline, and logo. These are the first 3 things your customers are going to see. In the earliest days of entrepreneurship, the innovations being brought to the people were for the people, for making their lives better, easier, healthier, safer, more fun, whatever it was. It was for the good, the greater good of society. The products and services were being developed from the bottom up, meaning they were created by a person for the people, for the purposes of uplifting society. As business evolved to become more and more corporatized and more products and services began to develop from the top down, meaning they were being manufactured, designed, and distributed by corporations for the purposes of making money and then pushed down on the people through promotions and advertisement. This is where consumerism has picked up negative connotations. It's the stores being packed with hundreds of different varieties of the same potato chip or 80 different varieties of bottled water. In 2021, we're seeing a huge shift in this dynamic and a major return to brands that are people-centric. A dramatic and outstanding recent example of this return to bottom-up branding is CEO Dan Price, a tech entrepreneur who developed a credit card processing company called Gravity Payments. In 2015, it came to Price's attention that an employee of his was secretly working a second job at McDonald's to maintain her single-parent household. He responded by slashing his own $1.1 million pay package to fund a minimum living wage of $70,000 to all employees of Gravity Payments. Sounds like a good guy, right? At first, Price was heavily criticized. Guess by whom? the CEOs of other multi-million-dollar companies who didn't want a light to be shined on their own inflated salaries and underpaid employees. Price made this decision for the people. And since then, he has been hailed a success by the likes of Harvard Business School, Inc. magazine, which called to light that since the change in wealth distribution at Gravity, the number of employees had doubled, and the value of payments being processed by Gravity went from $3.8 billion a year to $10.2 billion a year. And while other corporations resent that Gravity is becoming a blaring example of how doing good for the people is actually good for business, this CEO isn't staying silent. A tweet sent out by Dan Price in April of 2021 reads, 6 years ago today, I raised my company's minimum wage to $70K. Since then, our revenue tripled. We're our Harvard Business School case study, and our employees had a 10x boom in homes bought. Always invest in people. So, what is a brand culture? Brand culture can be defined in many ways, but because today we're looking to avoid the biggest and most common mistakes in branding, I'm going to give it to you like this, a little tough love definition of brand culture. At the end of the day, the reality of your brand culture is defined by the way your shareholders feel about your brand. And it won't be your playful messaging. It won't be your snazzy packaging. It won't be your upbeat social media presence. Instead, the level of collective pride and trust and overall happiness that your employees and suppliers feel in regards to your brand will be the true tell-all, the truth of the truth that defines your brand culture. And whatever that brand culture amounts to, for better or worse, it's getting telegraphed, as is, to your customers. Elon Musk put it like this, a brand is just a perception, and over time, perception will match reality. And if the reality of your brand culture doesn't match the perception you want your brand to create in the minds and hearts of your ideal brand community, then it's only a matter of time before people will start to question the authenticity of your brand. When your team members' lives are improving because your brand is keeping its promise to them, then they will be more happy to make 100% certain that your customers know that your brand can be trusted and your brand keeps its promises. And that, in a nutshell, is the definition of a healthy brand culture. Richard Branson says there is no magic formula for great company culture. The key is to just treat your staff how you'd want to be treated. It's the golden rule, right? When people trust your brand, then and only then can a lasting relationship be formed. Always remember, no matter what business you're in, brand loyalty is your business plan. So why a brand can no longer survive without a brand culture? The Edelman research study speaks for itself. People want less brands who market perfect self-imagery and unrealistic lifestyle standards, and they want more brands who are the people actively seeking solutions to make life better, ease human suffering, and forge new paths towards a greater future. Your brand culture is the beating heart of your brand, and it is the most human, most vulnerable, most relatable aspect of your brand. And it's where the love comes through to touch the beating hearts of your ideal individuals. A brand without a thriving brand culture, it isn't alive. It's a machine going through the motions, reading from the script and playing the numbers game, existing only to facilitate one sale to the next. And it's not what inspires people in 2021, not at all. That's not what wins brand loyalty. And whatever business you're in, brand loyalty is your business plan. So today, 66% of consumers worldwide consider company culture as the welfare of employees to be the deciding factors that determine whether they buy from your brand or your competitor's brand. That is only half the story of why a brand can no longer survive without a great brand culture. Brand culture is now a major differentiator for attracting the diversity, talent, and expertise that is now necessary to drive a brand's long-term success in 2021. In today's digital marketplace, the internal affairs are now external, and the discrepancies between your brand's messaging and your brand culture can no longer be kept behind closed doors. In a study of 500 responders by the aptly named Glassdoor, 77% of people consider a brand's culture before applying for a job. And this is the kind of talent money can't always buy. Over half of the respondents considered a thriving brand culture to be more important than salary when it comes to job satisfaction. Every successful business in today's marketplace had to learn how to pass the blink test, and they are counting on you to fail. It's often referred to as the dreaded blink test because around 99% of businesses fail the blink test every day. The blink test was created by the digital marketplace, which floods people with more you know this, floods you with more advertising than humankind has ever been exposed to before. The average person, you and me, we see 5,000 ads a day. Because our minds can only process so much information at once, we've adapted to this like onslaught of advertising by becoming professional deleters. Studies have shown that the average person automatically deletes around 99% of ads they see in a day. Automatically. And this study also revealed that your brand has between 3 and 5 seconds to make that first impression on your customer, or blink, it's like just that quick. You get deleted. Every blink test fail means going back to the drawing board, and acing the blink test means your business has the green light to come out of nowhere. So how do you ace the blink test? I have an answer key. So how about I include that information in the link below, along with how to brand with using the 10 branding landmarks that I promised earlier. And by the way, the first 3 landmarks are name, tagline, and logo. So it's a lot of great insight that a new business needs really early on so they can start making a first impression on customers that leads to brand loyalty. Remember, no matter what business you're in, brand loyalty is your business plan. Okay, well, you have a lot of great insider information here that the top 1% of companies don't want you to know. They want you to make every rookie mistake in the book, every one they made. But the entrepreneurial tables are turning, and the opportunities to come out of nowhere and become an inspiration to millions have skyrocketed. You're in the right place at the right time. So go with your gut, be bold, and get your ideas into the world. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll love.